Thanks to a trade with the Saints, the Eagles have the number 10 pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, plus their own pick at 30. Who will the NFC champion Eagles take? Let's talk about it. Hello and welcome to Draft Brothers, a Champions Round podcast. We continue our NFL Draft series with the Philadelphia Eagles today. I am your host, Jeff Hasley, and I'm joined by my draft brother, Dan Turner. And today's guest, Sam Wagman, like Dan, is a big Eagles fan. Sam's a content creator for Vegas Insider, FootballGuys.com, and the High Floor Football Podcast. We're talking Eagles football today, particularly what they might do in the 2023 NFL Draft. Sam, it's a pleasure to have you join us. Welcome to the show. It's all about the Eagles today, baby.
It's always about the Eagles every day. But thank you guys for having me. Excited to be here and talk some birds.
Awesome. Let's get into it. So thanks to last year's trade with the Saints, the Eagles now occupy their 10th pick in the draft. Plus they have their own pick at 30. Sam, is Howie Roseman going to trade down again? Is that possible? Who would need to be there at 10 for them to make that pick?
Well, there's definitely a group of guys that he would like to be there. Probably starts with seeing if Jalen Carter falls to 10. And I think he would swing immediately if Carter was there. And I think despite what people have said about Carter falling to the bottom of the first round or out of the first round entirely, I don't know if what happened in February is enough to qualify as something that would knock Carter down that far. I mean, we saw Laramie Tunsil have a gas mask bong video leaked the night of the draft, and he only fell to 13. Carter wasn't cited for any DUI or anything like that, and it was probably a very traumatic event for him. So I think he'll probably slide a little bit. And if he's there at 10, I think the Eagles would love to have him, given that they just lost Javon Hargrave and are probably looking for some youth to infuse with Jordan Davis on the back end of their defensive line. But now that they've re-signed the cornerbacks, I don't know if cornerback is in play there. I think defensive line or offensive line is probably a huge look for them at 10.
Interesting. Dan, if Carter's there, would you take him? Like, without a doubt?
Yeah. I mean,
that's not too confident, Dan.
Yeah, no, I'm just someone that doesn't enjoy drafting linemen at all in the first round, especially when we already have basically our starters locked up for most of the line. I would want a player that could step in and play immediately. But since we, like Sam said, signed both corners already, like someone like a Weatherspoon or Gonzalez isn't going to start anyway now either. Right. So at that point, you might as well just go best player available. And Carter was in play to be, the first overall pick before everything went down with him. So if he's there, I'll have no problem taking him.
Sounds like Carter is a possibility at 10 if he's there. At the top of the show, I dropped a bomb saying, hey, what if Bijan Robinson is someone who's at play there at 10? If so, let's just say Atlanta does not take him at 8. Is Bijan Robinson someone to target? The Eagles they signed Rashad Penny. They have Kenneth Gainwell and they have Boston Scott, right, at running back. Would you guys entertain Robinson at all? I know I'm kind of throwing this on you, but I'm just kind of curious.
Would I? Yes.
Yes.
Would Howie? Never.
Yeah, I have to agree there. As much as because not only are we Eagles fans, we're also fantasy football fans, and I think both from a fantasy football standpoint and just an Eagles team standpoint, I think would love someone of Bijan Robinson's caliber to be added to a running back room that just lost Miles Sanders, and Rashad Penny's only on basically a vet minimum contract. I just don't ever see Howie making that kind of investment in a running back, especially when it's just such a poor future investment.
Yeah, I mean, I like the possibility of him landing in Philadelphia, but I think, like you said, Dan and Sam as well, it's not really a Howie Roseman thing. So I don't know. Maybe it's just a pipe dream, but we can think. So, all right. So Philadelphia signed the corner duo. They re-signed Darius Slay and James Bradbury. Does this mean that Philadelphia is just not going to target a corner early in the draft? We kind of mentioned this early, Witherspoon as well as Christian Gonzalez. Would you be targeting maybe if you are looking at a corner, are you looking at like a third, fourth round guy, or is it completely off the table here in the first?
I actually think you could target a cornerback as soon as 30. And, look, we mentioned that they re-signed Slay and Bradbury. They're 30 and 32. They're not exactly the fountain of youth at the position, and they don't really have a ton of depth behind them. So while, a cornerback like, a Kelly Ringo might not start right away, you could definitely see the Eagles looking to target someone at 30. Kelly Ringo's there. Cam Smith would be there. Emmanuel Forbes out of Mississippi State is there. I mean, there's a few guys around that area that I would think that they would look to target. And cornerback is something that probably not a 10, probably is definitely in play at 30.
Dan, you feel the same?
Yeah, I could see them definitely going into the second and even in the third round, something that they did a couple of years ago with Sidney Jones and someone like Garrett Williams, who, has that ACL injury. But, if he didn't have that injury, would be, a second round type pick. You could take someone like that, let him get healthy, and then you'll have a guy to start when Slay and or Bradbury's production starts dipping. So I could definitely see them not at 10 like Sam said, but definitely from 30 on is definitely a possibility.
If you like sports and playing sporting games, download the Champions Round app. Get playing and start winning. Use promo code DraftBros for a free $10 and check out our newest game mode, Spicy Slips. If you love live sports gaming, the NBA, or you just want some extra action this NFL offseason, come play Spicy Slips. Build a 2 to 5 leg parlay of live props and win big today. He is Sam Wagman, and you can find him at Swagman95 on Twitter. And he is a content creator for Vegas Insider, FootballGuys.com, and the High Floor Football Podcast. All right, so question for the two of you. If you had the crystal ball and you could pick your guy for Philadelphia at 10 as well as 30, and let's just say we're not trading down. Those are the picks. Which two guys are you wanting to have on your squad? We'll start with you, Sam.
Ooh, like if I have everything that I can get and there's no limit.
Realistically, I guess, who would be there and such.
I think I'd probably go with someone like a Peter Skoronski. Okay. As much as I don't love drafting someone who might be a guard that early in the draft, I do think it's an immediate need for us, given the fact that we just lost Isaac Seumalo. There's no telling whether Cam Jurgens can play at the guard spot, and Landon Dickerson only has one set of feet, so he can't play two guard slots. I do think, and Howie just does love to invest in both the offensive line and defensive line in drafts. I think someone like him is a very likely play, unless he goes, a pick or two before us, like some draft nicks have predicted. And at 30, I think I'm going to go back to what I just said, and I would love someone like Kelly Ringo, who's extremely young, has big game experience, just playing the national championship game, played very well against Quentin Johnston. Someone like him or Brian Branch, if he drops down to 30, I would love as well.
All right. Dan, how about your thoughts?
All right, so at 10, if 4 quarterbacks go, both corners, Jalen Carter and an offensive lineman, then I want us to take Will Anderson.
Wait, you're wanting Will Anderson to fall?
I don't think that's realistic. But
I am stretching the rules of the question. And
fair enough.
Will Anderson. No, but realistically, I still want Witherspoon. I think that even with signing both Bradbury and Slay, they are getting up there in age, and Witherspoon can learn for a year. Being the third cornerback, which we really don't have any depth behind either of those guys that we can trust. And then, in a year he can go ahead and start. So I'd still take him. I loved him before I knew we were re-signing both those guys. And at 30, I'd want Bijan Robinson at 30 if he falls that far, but I don't think he will. But so for that one,
would Jahmyr Gibbs be in play for you at 30? Is that
I don't know. I don't know at 30 because like Jahmyr Gibbs is someone that is a really big like pass catcher as a running back.
He's
And
like
our
Kenny
offense-
Gainwell. He's
Right.
like the same kind of back as Kenny Gainwell.
Right, and we don't throw the ball enough to our running backs to warrant that high of a pick for that kind of player. Maybe someone like a defensive lineman, like a BJ Ojulari, going maybe a receiver if like a Zay Flowers or Josh Downs is to go with that slot, load up the wide receiver core for Jalen Hurts, someone like that. I would go if Robinson wasn't there.
You had a question that you wanted to ask Sam?
Yes. All right, Sam. So what do we do at safety now that Gardner Johnson's gone?
Well, I think there's a couple things you can do. You can obviously draft one. There's a decent class helmed by guys like by Brian Branch and a couple others as well. But you can also sign someone like Jalen Mills or Taylor Rapp out of the veteran free agent class, and John Johnson, Adrian Amos. A group of those guys is available as well, and I think those are all good options there.
Would you trade down from 10 to like 15 and take Branch? Would you be okay with that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's by far the strongest safety in this class, and I think someone like him would be worth doing that for. Plus, he would be able to, scoop up a couple mid-round picks, which we really don't have that many of this year.
Yeah. Dan, any other questions for Sam?
Do you think we draft a running back? And if so, who would you want?
I do, because I love Rashad Penny. I'm smart enough to realize that the contract they gave Penny is extremely incentive laden, doesn't guarantee him a roster spot really at all. It's basically a vet minimum contract that's like you need to stay healthy or else. I could see them drafting someone like a Sean Tucker or like a Tank Bigsby.
Yeah.
I could see either of those guys kind of in like the second or third round. Personally, I would love someone like Kendre Miller. I don't know exactly where the NFL is going to value him. I know the fantasy community values him probably a little bit higher than the NFL community does, given the fact that we've seen him be extremely explosive and he's looked really good, though we haven't seen him in a few months because he didn't play in the national championship game. He had that MCL sprain that was deemed as pretty serious. I do like this running back class. I think if they decided to go that way and draft a back on day 2 or day 3, I wouldn't hate it at all. There's quite a few guys there that I think are more of like, those thumpers, a little bit of the bigger guys that the Eagles love to have guys like that. The Super Bowl year we had Jay Ajayi and LeGarrette Blount. Both of those guys were over 225 pounds and extremely, extremely thunder heavy guys that could just rumble through the defense. And I think having guys like that is kind of the core bread and butter of what the Eagles want to do running the football.
Okay, everybody, thank you for tuning in. Thank you, Sam. We appreciate you sharing your thoughts and insights on the Eagles. Be sure to follow Sam for all things Eagles and the NFL draft at Swagman95 on Twitter. And we appreciate your support. Thanks for tuning in. And do us a favor. If you like the show, give us a like, a subscribe, a comment. That stuff really does help out our channel, so we appreciate that. And don't forget to download the Champions Round app and use the free $10 bonus code. Your entertainment is our passion. We'll see you next time when we talk about the Titans draft.